Yes, right.
Yeah, it's available on DVD in South Africa, Australia, and New Zealand. As far as I know, a North American DVD deal is being negotiated currently. I have a sales agent in New Zealand, and I think there are a couple of interested parties. So you'll have to just check out the website. It's darlingmovie.com.au, and there'll be updates about that. But it's screened on television in the United States. I know we're not in the United States, but you know, hopefully it will be seen here, certainly on DVD in the future in all of North America.
Sure. Are there any other? Yes. Yes.
I love the way you use the notebook and the drawings. I thought that was fantastic.
Oh, thanks very much. Well, you know, that was certainly getting around some budgetary constraints, you know. You know, if you can't show Sharpeville, it's better if you illustrate it. Look, the thing was, it's true to the story and how this film came about. I kept journals the whole way through. You know, I mean, I was so overwhelmed. I mean, as Peter says, it's kind of an upside-down society, and so the lowest common denominator floats on top. It's a topsy-turvy world there, and it took me a long time to get my head around it. And the way I negotiated it was just by reading copious amounts, reading Peter's book, Mandela's book, reading the, you know, South African newspapers till my eyes almost fell out of my head, and just writing everything down, just observing this world, which I really was an alien in. So it's really nice to hear that, you know, because it became a stylistic decision that really informed the film. And, you know, again, as I said, it's a ragged, bumpy old film sometimes, but very much from the heart, so I really appreciate that. Yeah, at the very back.
Yes, I was just wondering if you condense all the time that you put in actually making the film and time-wise, how long did it take you to make it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that production on the film ended up taking about 3 years, you know, going back and forth to South Africa. I started doing it my last year of high school, and I ended up taking about 5 trips. So I went all over South Africa with Peter, and, you know, we even filmed a little bit in Germany, in Berlin. So, of course, that's the magic of a film, you know, that you compress all of this stuff down into a succinct piece. I must say, it would be very easy to make a convoluted, very, very lengthy cut. You know, getting a 3-hour complicated cut is not hard. Getting it down to an hour and making it look really simple and like it's just continuous and flowing is the tricky thing. And that's really been my filmmaking lesson. But yeah, you know, about 3 years, and then a little bit more, you know, to edit it and put it all together. And then it's just been a journey getting it out all around the world, you know, and even though personally my work on this film finished a little while ago, I'm still just as passionate today to meet new people and talk about it and share his story, you know. I mean, that's why you make a film, so that it's preserved and that you can keep the conversation going. And to be honest, we need dialogue about these issues more than ever. I mean, Africa is stepping into the breach now, and of course I think that Jacob Zuma will become the president of South Africa shortly. That will be official. And there will be, you know, a whole new raft of problems and wonderful things and, you know, difficulties and all of the usual complexities of life in South Africa. And all I hope, you know, as a observer from the other side of the world down in Australia, is that whoever the new president of South Africa is keeps the dialogue about AIDS going, you know. As Peter says, we don't have the answers yet, but we must keep asking the questions. And the most important and life-changing thing that I've seen is just that consciousness raising that Peter achieves when he performs for young people and older audiences. It is that thing of asking questions, of looking your leaders in the eyes and saying, we need more information. And I think that if that conversation is alive, they're certainly going to be moving in the right direction in South Africa, and that's what I, you know, hope and pray for.
Just a comment, having grown up in South Africa.
Oh, right. Where are you from?
Born in Pretoria, Johannesburg.
Very pretty place, like the jacaranda trees. Is that what you call them? The purple? Yeah, they're lovely. Anyway.
What hit me in this movie more than anything was the articulate nature of the children, and how maturely they spoke was quite different from the children, the black children when I grew up there. So getting that and seeing that is hopeful.
Well, that's great to hear, because I think it's really hopeful too. You know, that was definitely the most inspiring thing that I saw. And, you know, it's funny, I was born in New Zealand, and I live in Australia now, hence my accent's a little bit all over the place. But, you know, back home, I don't think at that young age we're quite as engaged politically down under. And it's because they're dealing with this life and death stuff every day. So out of that cauldron, the most amazing and extensive consciousness has been born. I mean, I was just bowled over. And it's really good to hear that, because we really highlighted their words in the second half of the film. You know, the second half of the film kind of belongs to these young people. And yeah, it was just so wonderful that they were so candid with me.
I think we have time for 2 more questions. Yes, sir.
What's your next film?
Well, actually, my follow-up to this film has been a book. I've just had my first book published in Australia, which has been very exciting. It's called Modern Odysseus, and it's a photo novel. So it's a novel, but it tells the story with photographs as well. And it's all about a middle-aged guy who lives in New York, who is a big corporate player, and he kind of burns out and has a breakdown and decides he needs to rediscover his soul and rediscover the spark inside. So Modern Odysseus is a book that I developed while I was making Darling. That's just come out in Australia. And I'm currently working on a documentary about the All Blacks, which is the New Zealand rugby team. So very different subject matter. But, you know, as with all documentaries, there's the kind of surface subject and then what it's really about. And that film's not going to be about rugby at all. It's going to be about how this team of athletes holds this country of my birth, New Zealand, together. And it's going to examine the role of sport in economic nationalism, in the spiritual fabric of countries, how a sport can hold the country together psychologically. It's going to look at all of that. And I've actually been filming a little bit in Boston in the last few days, comparing the All Blacks to the Red Sox. One other thing is actually I've just acted in a film which is about my childhood hero, John Kerwin, who was also an All Black, funnily enough. And it's about his battle with depression. So look, for me, mate, I've just been trying to do lots of different projects, you know, whatever makes me passionate. And I don't care if it's fiction, if it's non-fiction, if it's a book, if it's a film, if it's a poem. I just go after what inspires me, you know, and I think until I get a bit older, I try not to limit myself.
I think we've time. So we have time for one last question. Yes.
Well, do you mean when I first shot? I did finish school. I managed to sort of negotiate a contract so I could keep doing my high school, but also travel to South Africa. So the first time I went over there, I think I was, I would have been 16 or 17. And I guess by the time this film was finished, it would have been sort of around my 21st birthday. And I'm now doing a master's in film back in Sydney, which I finish in June. So that's actually my first degree post-high school, and that's been, you know, incredibly exciting and, to be honest, a bit of a luxury. It is such hard work making a documentary, let me tell you. You really just have to stick with it, and I'm finding that even with the new documentary that I'm working on now. So any sort of support and environment is really appreciated. But look, I'm not sure what's next. I may do more study. I just want to keep expressing myself, and you know, I mean, that's really what it's all about for me for now. Thank you very much.
On behalf of the Toronto Youth Film Festival, I really want to thank you for bringing your film and for coming to all this way to Toronto to be here with us. Thank you so much.